How did you know she was the one, your wife? Was there a
knew-
moment in the relationship you're like, yep, this is
the many. She accepted me on a level I'd never felt accepted before.
Wow.
And I felt, I think I was more afraid to be vulnerable than I realized in my 20s, you know, which followed me into my 30s. But if you'd have asked me at 25, are you a vulnerable person? I would have been like, yeah. I wouldn't have thought I wasn't. But when I look back now, my version of vulnerability was, you know, telling a heroic story about myself, about how it used to be hard and now it's great.
Right.
Which is not like, that's the kind of like Joseph Campbell hero's journey vulnerability that is like, you know, here's how my life sucked and here's how like amazing my life is now. And it's not really it's really a story about how great you are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not, vulnerable stories they're not the stories that are enjoyable to tell because we come out the hero.
Right.
Real vulnerability is the stuff that's actually hard to say because you're worried you're not going to love me if I tell you this. This feels shameful.
Yeah.
This feels like a part of me that is contemptible or weak and fragile. And it took me a minute to realize, well, that I didn't, nearly as much as I thought, I didn't talk about those parts of myself. And I hadn't really accepted them in myself. So it was hard for me to ever think that someone else was going to accept them. But then when I started talking to my now wife, Audrey, about certain things that I was afraid to say in other relationships, you know, when I sort of covered my eyes and ears thinking, okay, this is the part where you'd now change your opinion of me, or this is the part where you don't love me anymore, or you think I'm not cool, or I'm not sexy, I'm not this like heroic guy. She was like, oh, I love you even more now. And that was like, okay. And then we also went through some hard times together. Like we had some hard things go on in both of our lives. And it was in the hard times that we went through some hard things that in dating you shouldn't, like it should have been easier, but we both were going through hard times in our lives. And in those times we really, really bonded. And I realized, oh, this is the person that for the rest of my life, if we did this well in these hard times, then this is going to be an amazing person to go through life with. So
that is amazing. I feel like you do have to go through those hard times. At least for me, like I remember when Colin, now my husband, we went through hard times, and that really shows you who you're with. And I feel like everyone needs to go through hard times before they decide to get married because, listen, either it's going to make it or break it.